Hey everybody, my name is Carson Smalling and I am the network administrator here at itek. And today we're going to be talking about Microsoft Copilot. So before anybody or any organization goes on a journey with Microsoft Copilot, the one thing that you want to keep in mind is data governance. Data governance is very important because it deals with protecting your company data, right? And that means keeping it out of the wrong hands and keeping it into the right hands. Making sure that people that have access to your data do have access to your data and the people that don't do not. All right, so very important to keep in mind, and we're going to touch base on that throughout the presentation. So before we dive into Microsoft Copilot, we want to take a look at what an LLM is, or a large language model. A large language model is a type of AI model that uses text-based data to provide human-like responses, thus allowing you to talk to it as if you were talking to another human being. Notice how Microsoft is not on this list. That's because Microsoft Copilot is not an LLM. There's something much more than an LLM. All right, so what is Microsoft Copilot exactly? Copilot is an AI-powered tool that integrates directly into your Microsoft 365 applications, such as Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. It allows you to access your business data at its most purest form. So using something like ChatGPT is great for general conversation and knowledge, but utilizing something like Copilot will allow you to actually manipulate your business data without going out of your way. So in this next video, we're going to go ahead and take a look at how Copilot works, starting with your 365 business applications, working its way through the LLM that it utilizes, and getting you your data right back.
Microsoft 365 Copilot is powered by what we call the Copilot system, a sophisticated processing and orchestration engine. It harnesses the power of three foundational technologies: the Microsoft 365 apps, that's Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, and more; the Microsoft Graph, that's all your content and context, your emails, files, meetings, chats, and calendar; and a large language model, or LLM, a creative engine capable of parsing and producing human-readable text, all accessible through natural language. It starts with a prompt from you in an app. Copilot pre-processes the prompt through an approach called grounding. Put simply, grounding improves the quality of the prompt, so you get answers that are relevant and actionable. One of the most important parts of grounding is making a call to the Microsoft Graph to retrieve your business content and context. Copilot combines this user data from the graph with other inputs to improve the prompt. It then sends that modified prompt to the LLM. You may be familiar with what an LLM can do based on your experience with ChatGPT or Bing Chat. Copilot takes the response from the LLM and post-processes it. This post-processing includes additional grounding calls to the graph, responsible AI checks, security, compliance, and privacy reviews, and command generation. Finally, Copilot sends a response to the user and commands back to the apps. Copilot iteratively processes and orchestrates these sophisticated services to produce a result that feels like magic.
So lastly, in this presentation, we're going to take a look at what Copilot offers in Microsoft Teams. So in Microsoft Teams, my favorite feature is the meeting summaries, right? If you can't make a meeting and you say you got to step out of a meeting or you can't make it, Copilot can record your meeting, transcribe your entire meeting, and then give you speaker notes and also generate tasks for each speaker based on that meeting. So another great feature is scheduling and reminders. So if you need to schedule a meeting with a coworker and you don't know exactly when their next scheduled availability is, you can go ahead and just ask Copilot, hey, when is so-and-so available next? And it'll spit that response out to you as long as you have access to their calendar. And then you can just schedule that meeting for that time. And now we're going to move on to a live demo. Okay, so to start with our live demo, we're going to open up Excel here. And we have a t-shirt company called the Byte t-shirt company. And we have sales data for the year of 2022. And we're going to go ahead and utilize Copilot to see what we can get generated as far as visualizing our data and having Copilot answer some questions that we have about it. So the first thing we're going to ask it is, who is my largest customer by gross profit? And what it's doing right now is it's analyzing A1 through F840. So we have 840 rows to see if it can generate what we want. And you can see it said, I encountered an issue while processing a request. Please try another question or provide more specific criteria for identifying your largest customer by gross profit. So clearly there's not enough data that we've provided it to generate a response that is actually a valid response for us. So we're going to ask it to calculate a gross profit column for us before we ask it another question. So again, it's looking through our table and trying to make sense of what we have in the table, passing that data through the LLM, and you can see it's actually generated a formula for us. And if we go ahead and hover over the Insert Column button, we can preview the data that it's generated for us. So if it all looks good, we're going to just click on the Insert Column, and now we have a gross profit column. So next, we're going to ask it to calculate the gross profit percentage for us. Again, it's analyzing the data, A1 through F840 or G840 now, see if it can get us a valid response. And we can see here that it's generated a formula again for us. We go ahead and hover over the insert column. All looks good. Click on it. Now we have a gross profit percentage. We don't pick favorites here, so everybody's at 50%. So now what we're going to do is ask it to calculate an accumulated gross profit column. We want to see how much money we're making year to date. So calculate accumulated gross profit to date. Again, it's just looking through our table, see what fits best. And we have a formula that's been generated for us. We're going to go ahead and see if that makes sense to us. It does, so now we have an accumulated gross profit column. All right, so now that we have that accumulated gross profit column, let's go ahead and just ask it some general questions. So we're just going to ask it, how many retailers do we sell to? Now normally, you would just drop down the retailer name column here and count it up all by yourself, but now you have Copilot do that work for you. So you can see here that Copilot has found 8 distinct retailers. So great information, especially when you're working with big data. All right, so now we're going to ask it who our least 3 profitable customers are. So I don't know how it's going to generate this because it doesn't have any data that we gave it, but clearly it did that without any input from me. So it has now calculated the sum of gross profit for the 3 least profitable customers without us giving it any data beforehand. So what we can do is go ahead and we can add this to a new sheet. If we click that button there, we have that, that table added to a new sheet for us. So the last thing that we're going to ask it to do, just so we can see what all of our customers are giving us, we're going to ask it to create another table containing each customer and the total gross profits we made from them. Now again, we haven't given it any of the data that we're asking for before, any of the data that's needed to generate this table for us. And we can see that it has generated a table for us containing all of our customers and the gross profit. If we add it to a new sheet, it's also sorted it by largest to smallest. So this is super useful for us. So what we're going to do next is hop into PowerPoint, and we're going to actually create a marketing presentation for our least profitable customer, casual crafters. They need to craft more. All right, so here we are in PowerPoint. We're going to go ahead and click on the Copilot button here. And we're just going to start by asking it to create an engaging marketing presentation for us. Okay, so the prompt we have entered is create an engaging marketing presentation for my t-shirt company, Byte Me T-shirts, and target it to our least profitable customer, casual crafters. So it says looking things over, almost there, pulling things together. It's still working on it. It's nice how it lets you know what it's doing, right? So you don't think it's just loading and loading and loading. You can see at the bottom there's a loading bar, and it has created a nice 9-slide presentation for us. Now we're going to just quickly flip through here and see what we have. So, Buy Me T-shirts, high quality custom designed T-shirts for techies and pop culture fans. So because we weren't too specific in our prompt, it's just went ahead and generated a target audience for us. We have a presentation overview, identifying casual crafters, customer profile, market research, tailored marketing strategies, targeted social media campaigns, personalized promotions, and a conclusion. Pretty good for just typing a one-sentence target line, right? So next what we're going to do is we're going to ask it to generate a slide for us, just one slide. So we're going to ask it to create a slide that states the unit price for our t-shirts is $7, and that our best customer can sell our t-shirts for $21 a piece. And we're going to ask it to also provide the percentage that the client can make from each t-shirt. So I have some typos in there. We're going to see if Copilot can fix that for us. So working on a response, looking things over, almost there. And we can see now that it's created a pricing slide for us. And we can see that it's generated some bullet points for us. The unit price of our shirts is $7. Our best customer can sell our shirts for $21 each, and the client can make $200% profit on each t-shirt. Just what we asked it to do. We're going to go ahead and ask it to provide us an agenda at the beginning of the presentation. So there we go. Provide an agenda at the beginning. Waiting for a response, looking things over. Almost there. And we have a presentation overview now. So we have the presentation overview slide. That's great. It's some people looking at some paperwork, which fits the slide very well. And we're going to go ahead and lastly ask it to organize the presentation more effectively. So organize this presentation more effectively. Just so it's not scattered all over the place. It is only a 11-slide presentation, but it should organize it for us here. So you can see slides 1 through 4 is now in the introduction and overview section. It's created a product and pricing section, understanding casual crafters section, and marketing strategy. So that will be it for PowerPoint. We're going to lastly move on to Microsoft Word. So here we have Microsoft Word pulled up. We're going to go ahead and ask it to generate us some content. So the first thing you'll see if you have a Copilot subscription, when you open up Microsoft Word, is that it asks you to select the icon or press Alt-I to draft with Copilot. So we're going to go ahead and press Alt-I, and the draft with Copilot prompt comes up. But we can go ahead and ask it to draft for us. So what we're going to do is, everybody knows that writing a collections letter can be uncomfortable, right? So I've never written one myself. I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of using Copilot to do this for me. So I'm going to ask it to create a demanding collections letter for an unpaid invoice over 90 days old, and use terminology that a lawyer would. And we're just going to go ahead and click Generate. So we can see that it has created a draft for us in a little under 3 seconds here. And it did not make any mention of a law firm, or it did actually. So it did make a mention of a law firm at the bottom. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we can actually make changes to the draft that it's generated for us. So we're going to go ahead and say that we are not a law firm. I only want to sound like a lawyer. And we're going to go ahead and send that through. So here we could see that it has used the same terminology that a lawyer would, but it's gotten rid of the your law firm portion. So it's done exactly what we asked it to do. Now, what we're going to do is make things a little more less demanding, because everybody knows if you want to get paid, you got to make your customer laugh, right? So we're going to go ahead and ask it to basically do the same thing, but use terminology that a clown would. So create a collections letter for an unpaid invoice over 90 days and use terminology that a clown would. We're also additionally going to ask it to use lots of emojis because we want to see lots of emojis. Go ahead and send that prompt through. And there we go. It's used lots of emojis for us. It says, hey there, time to settle the bill. Yikes. It looks like the invoice number sent way back on date of invoice has been hanging around for 90 days now. The total amount due is amount, which includes any extra giggles, late fees, and chuckles, interest we've added. So this is a way to ensure that you get paid, right? So again, Copilot did exactly what we asked it for. It can generate funny collections letters. It can generate demanding collections letters and sound like your lawyer wrote it, right? So that's just a very, very small example that we can generate to see what Copilot can actually accomplish for us. So with that, I will turn you guys over to the new Copilot Wave 2 that Microsoft is releasing. There's some really cool features here, so I'll go ahead and turn it over to that. But again, I'm Carson Smalling, the Network Administrator here at US itek, and it's been a pleasure demonstrating Microsoft Copilot for you guys.